Hi, this is Trevor and Lizzy for Southeast Pit Report. We're here talking with Corey at Trivium in St. Pete, Florida tonight. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Great. Loving the weather?
Yeah, it's nice to be back home in the state of Florida. So it's been good. Had a couple warm days around the country, but it's been nice to have some cool weather and get out of the Florida heat for a little bit.
Yeah. So you recently played Chicago Open Air, which was the first annual year they've done this festival. How did you like the way that it was set up and the way that it was run?
Well, the same guy who put on Chicago Open Air does all the other ones around the country. So they're great festivals, and the Chicago Open Air is a lot like Rock on the Range, where it's in the MLS soccer stadium, which I think is a really cool setup because it everyone can just gather together. You don't really have to go anywhere. All the two stages side by side. So I really like playing those festivals. We just hopefully eventually we can play later in the day, so we don't have to go on stage at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm usually in bed.
Yeah, we were actually up there too. Did you guys get a chance to catch Rammstein?
No, wasn't able to. That was the last. We just flew up for the weekend to do 2 shows, so pretty much me and a couple other guys. Right after our set was done, we were headed to the airport to fly home.
So, man, you
I've
missed out.
seen Rammstein over in Europe before.
Oh,
So.
God, I bet that's even
Even better.
Yes.
Cool. So since you guys have played that festival, you've played Download, you've played pretty much every major festival in every country in the world almost. What other goals do you guys have, and what's left to accomplish for this band?
It's just always everything we do is just always trying to reach new people and build our fan base. We've vision ourselves, all those festivals over in Europe and all that stuff. Like, we want to headline that shit. So there's still room to grow, and there's just even from this past record with having a song get in the top 10 at radio, and in America there's so many people that would be into our band that just haven't been exposed to it. So it's kind of like the why we're always touring and staying busy is we're trying to reach all those people, and hopefully once they actually hear us, they'll come join the party and pick up some of the records, come out to the shows, and hopefully become a lifelong fan.
Yep. Cool.
So we've been watching some of the newest videos, and we're curious about the concept for the blind leading the blind.
Matt's usually he's the video guy. Him and our director John Paul, who did all the new videos, kind of just came up with all these weird, had like some concept stuff for each video, and we just kind of want to make something that was kind of like, I guess, creepy but also funny, and just kind of like bizarro world kind of thing. So it was pretty much just trying to be like, it kind of took a lot of inspiration from a lot of like kind of indie artists that do like these really interesting kind of abstract weird videos, and we kind of and he's not really a metal guy, so he came up with all these interesting ideas, and then we just kind of put them through the metal filter and kind of made it our own kind of thing. So it was the first time we really had anything kind of like just off the wall, half goofy, half just kind of weird.
Yeah, that was what I was actually going to ask. Every other video seems like a playthrough or a serious video that has a concept and a story behind it, and that one was just kind of a little bit more goofing off than anything you guys have ever done before. So it was really interesting to kind of notice that.
Yeah, it was trying to do make each video kind of something different, and we hadn't really done that before, so it's kind of we've always tried to keep our, I guess, music and everything kind of serious, but that one we kind of let the hair down and just kind of had fun.
The other thing we noticed was the repetition of the album cover in the videos.
Yes.
So we were wondering if there's any symbolism behind that.
That's our mascot guy. We kind of during the last album cycle for Vengeance Falls, kind of just wanted to. That's when the whole skull guy was made in its early form. And we kind of wanted like our own kind of like Misfits kind of Eddie from Iron Maiden. They have like their iconic mascot where you can just see the face of it without even a band name and know.
And who it is.
That's that band. So we take a lot of stuff from Japanese artwork and history stuff, and the skull is based off of one of Matt's arm tattoos. It's like an ancient Japanese story. And we had his tattoo artist make the original skull, and then, this being the first record since we made that, it was kind of like we wanted to like kind of really brand that skull as like the new Trivium kind of symbol, and just wanted like a really iconic album cover with it. That's just very, very simple, but just kind of sets a tone, and then just kind of use that guy in kind of all aspects of what the band does on the art side with artwork, shirts. And merchandising. So hopefully, we kind of used it a lot on this one to kind of get the brand going, and then probably the next record will kind of do the kind of Iron Maiden style and kind of incorporate it into a new
something else,
a new world or something. So we'll see what it turns out to be. But that guy is he's the new face of the band.
Yeah. So one thing I've wondered is that you guys have been recording and tracking and stuff like that in the studio for a few years, and I was wondering how technology and the changes in all the recording equipment has changed the way you guys write or record, or anything special in the process that's evolved over the years as technology's grown.
When we make the records, it's kind of like the same thing in a studio, and not a lot of that gear. I guess this mixing boards and just mics and in a room. So when we actually record the record, it's a lot of same stuff, and then but also the technology since we first started till now, we're able to being able to record on your laptop, and and then especially with like Superior Drummer, we can just being at home, each one of us can, if you write a song idea, you can actually kind of build the whole thing into a full song with drums and whatever other instruments you need to track it. So you're able to do a lot more in-depth writing than before, when you had just like a little 4-track and you're just kind of playing your guitar and that's it, or having to wait and get in the jam room and show everybody. You can actually present full song ideas, which makes the process go by faster. With I can show Paulo, or Paulo can send us a song.
Yeah, you can email back and forth from anywhere. You don't have to be in the same room.
So you can email the stuff and have you can present your idea in like a full form so they can hear exactly what you're thinking, and it kind of speeds up the process. Then because even though we can't play drums, we kind of know what the drums are supposed to sound like. So we can program that, and it just makes it easier. You can actually kind of hear the song kind of come together before the band actually plays it, and then once we get in the room, we do a lot of rewriting and changing stuff, but it definitely helps with kind of like the whole kind of getting everything going.
Yeah. Another thing I was curious about, since I'm a guitar player, I know that you originally were playing Jackson, and then you and Matt had switched to Dean, and then you guys happened to switch back to your original guitar companies. What was the whole reason behind switching to Dean in the first place? And then what was the reason for switching back afterwards, after a few years?
For me, Jackson was always my favorite brand, and at the time, back when we first started, I was playing Jackson during Ascendancy, and then, at that time, we were such a new band, and it's like the company really didn't really have a relationship with anybody there, and they didn't really know me or the band that well. And then we just got kind of hooked up with Dean, having the opportunity to, build custom guitars and kind of learn kind of all the ins and outs of kind of the whole guitar building thing, with being able to design and build our own models, and just even, getting to learn about the whole custom side of things was kind of like a perk that we were like, yeah, it'd be great, because we can do a lot more with this company at the moment
than what you had with Jackson, which was basically nothing at the time.
Yeah, because Jackson at that time was owned by Fender.
Yeah.
So they ran it kind of like Fender. So unless you were like a top dude, like Eric Clapton,
it's harder to get in. Yeah.
No one really cares. But after Dean, things were kind of like on their way out. I looked at some other companies, but then once I started talking to the people who were working at Jackson, and after a few years, the way the people working there, there's like a couple guys that I've been familiar with from other companies that were working there, and I just was like, yeah, it's like, the situation's like a million times better, and so yeah, I jumped to the opportunity, because that's the brand I always wanted to play. Just now
the timing wasn't right, essentially.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty much kind of same deal with Matt. You know, he just he was playing a Les Paul when he was like 14. So I think it just kind of feels more at home. It fits. I think it fits us better than Dean did.
Okay.
So we've also been following you guys and noticed the drummer changes over the past couple of years, and we're curious how Paul is sitting in and meshing with you guys.
Going good. He's been playing with us for about 11 months, I think. So, you know, it's definitely from a band that, you know, the three of us have been together for so long. You know, every time you get a new guy, you kind of have to like learn everyone's quirks and kind of mesh them into you know, because there's three of us have been together for so long, so it's kind of be like trying to get into a tight knit gang or something, you know. But it's been going good, you know. He's been playing great. It definitely seems to be fitting in, you know. It's nice. We've been able to play a lot of songs in the set that we haven't been able to play for a couple of years. So it's been fun to be able to, at least for us, you know, the rest of us, since we get to play more old stuff than we kind of were able to over the past couple of years. So it's been kind of refreshing for the three of us to have someone who's able to kind of cover those tracks.
Yeah, I noticed Requiem and Pillars of Serpents have kind of been thrown in the mix the last few nights on the tour, so that's interesting to definitely see those old throwbacks in the set list.
Yeah, we always try to, cover something from every album. And before, it was like we had to kind of, every time we switched drummers, it was usually not the most ideal time because there's either on tour or a tour was coming up. So the guy who was coming into play always had to learn like what we were currently playing, and then we just never got
the chance to
past that to be like, all right, well, we have the songs that we're going to play, but then here's more to learn.
Yeah.
So now we have a long list of songs we can pick from. And earlier in the tour, we were mixing the setup like every night, like pretty drastically. But the last part of the tour, everyone's tired, so no one feels like sound checking. So we just been kind of rolling with the same set for the last couple shows.
Something from me being a fan forever of you and Matt and everybody else in Trivium, I noticed that you had the chance with Matt to be on the Roadrunner United CD on a track.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was pretty quick for me. I was just involved in that one song. And originally I guess the whole rules behind the Roadrunner United thing was like if you were like team captain like Matt was, you weren't allowed to pick anyone from your own band. But since it was King Diamond doing the vocals, and the guy, our A&R guy who signed us to Roadrunner, who was also kind of the head of the project, he originally signed King Diamond back in the day. And he was like, well, I'm going to break the rules this once because you can't have a King Diamond song without twin guitars. So it was like, all right. And he he knew I was a big King Diamond fan, obviously.
Yeah.
Sure. But we just, Matt... because at the time when he was writing the song for King Diamond, he wasn't like I guess he really didn't know a lot about King Diamond's music or Merciful Fate. So I had to give him I was like, dude, here's a couple songs to kind of get the vibe. And it was cool because he had the song written, and then he called me up one day and was just like, hey, we're ready for you at the studio, because it was just kind of like I was on call for whenever they were ready for me to do my parts. And I just went down to the studio and then spent like 10, 15 minutes learning all the riffs, and then on the DVD, like the solo, like a lot of that stuff was just kind of like first or second take.
Really?
So it's pretty much
impressive.
What's on the DVD
really
was just kind of like me just going for it. I can't remember doing it that many times, so
holy
it could have been one take or two takes or something like that, because I was like in the studio for very like short amount of time that it's just kind of like I remember doing it, but there's not a whole lot of stories to tell. Matt probably has because he dealt with all the songs and a lot more musicians. Because when I went in, I think it was just me and Matt and Jason Sukal. I don't think anyone else who was a part of the track. Maybe Dave Shivari was there, but it was just kind of in and out, and kind of took on a life of its own. That DVD. Everyone always mentions that guitar solo.
Yeah.
I wish I could still play it.
So, have there been any talks about doing another Roadrunner United CD at all, like amongst any of the other artists that have done it, or between you and Matt
we actually,
and the record?
We brought it up to our our Roadrunner guy that's our guy now, and because they did 25-year anniversary, and we brought up something about, can't remember what it was, but Matt and I were joking around about them doing another Roadrunner United, and Matt and I doing another song with King Diamond, like a part 2, because all the King Diamond stuff's like very storyline stuff. So we're like, yeah, we could do another song, and it could be Return of the Witch or something like. It was kind of like joking around, and then I think our A&R guy really liked the idea, but from the first time them doing it, like that many artists that they have to corral together and schedule to be able to pull something off, it was a pretty big task, and so I don't know if they'll do it in quite that capacity, but I think it's a cool concept to hear a lot of different musicians play together that don't normally play together, obviously, from being different bands. It's kind of a little all-star thing, but I don't know. It has to be I guess a pretty significant anniversary to
do another one.
I guess to have to deal with that many crazy musicians.
Yeah. All right, so you guys just posted the other day on Facebook that you're going to re-release Ember to Inferno, which is the CD that you guys first started with in 2003. Tell me a little bit more about that, and what was the decision behind bringing that back?
Well, the original label it was on, I remember when they first signed the deal with Life Force, there was like a 10-year, like they had the rights for 10 years, and after 10 years we could re-sign the deal or take the ownership back of the record. So that's why it's been off the market for a couple of years, because we took it back. So it's hasn't been available anywhere unless you can find it like eBay or something. But we were always intended on releasing it, but we were always at the time either doing a new record or promoting a new record. We didn't want like the re-release of Ember to kind of get in the way of like our new release.
Yeah.
So Matt's been working on it for a while to get everything together and obviously find a new label home to release it on. So now it's all kind of kicking back into gear. It's the original album. Nothing's changed from the original album, but within the packaging of the record, it's going to be on vinyl, which it never was on vinyl, and then also all the demos that preceded Ember to Inferno, that kind of like where the band came from.
Sworn and Storm, I saw, were on the bonus songs.
Well, the blue demo that we did before Ember, but then also there's the demo that we did after Ember that got assigned to Roadrunner, which has the original versions of like the Flies and the Deceived. And also an early demo that has like 3 songs that have never been released ever.
Wow.
They're from like the early, like Matt was like 14, 15. So very early stuff on there. So it's pretty cool. Fans seem to have been kind of dying, or constantly asking us, when's it going to be on Spotify or iTunes or something like that. So, Matt's been kind of waiting for the right time to put it out and get all the extra bonus stuff. And vinyl takes a while to get printed. So, but it's finally coming back out. So everyone can get a copy, and again, it'd be easier to find. So pretty stoked to have that finally come back out.
So speaking of that, since that's 13 years now, that thing hasn't been out, it's been out for that long. Have you guys ever thought about doing a 10-year anniversary of a CD that you've already put out and playing the whole thing front to back like a lot of bands do these days?
People have asked, because
Shogun's coming up in 2 years, and I know
it was 10 years of Crusade on this tour.
Yeah.
And then last year we did like a 10-year anniversary of Ascendancy, but it was just kind of like we released like a new shirt. And then everyone was expecting us to do a tour, but we're like, come back in 20 years if people still care, maybe we'll do it then. But 10 years is kind of, I think, I'm sure it'd be cool. I think people would like it, but I think just so many bands do it nowadays that it's kind of like doesn't make us want to do it.
Yeah.
So we'd rather wait for a more bigger milestone. So it's always cool, like when the anniversary. I think like 4 of our albums have had anniversaries because for some reason every album comes out in October for us. So it's So have to wait and see. We like to play, kind of spread it around because so many fans like
a little bit of everything.
different records. So it's like if we don't play, if we do like, well, we're doing all of Ascendancy, and then we don't play like In Waves, people are like, ooh, what the fuck? It's like, well, it's not an In Waves tour, but you know, we just like to cover everything because maybe some people like one of the other records more than that record that we're doing and want to hear songs from that one. So we like to keep it like as balanced as possible and kind of like not ignore or try not to ignore
any of the older material or
like,
something else.
Like try to at least play one song from a record, just so it gets in there. So there's not like one of the kids being ignored.